This is approximately all I have done over the last year in 2024. Welcome back to my channel, my fellow art friends. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season and that your 2025 started wonderfully. Today we're gonna do a little bit of a recap of last year, the things that I have created, the things that I am proud of, and the things that I am not so proud of. So this is the stack that mostly contains my watercolor art. Now, while I've been very busy trying to create lots of different things this year, I have also still been working on my alcohol inks in the background. But today we're gonna look at all my previous creations, and I want to tell you a little bit about what I've learned throughout the year of working with doodles and watercolors in particular. Most of it I'm proud of. Some of it was experimental. And then there was a short period at the end of the year where I wasn't really sure where my artist life was headed. Last year was all about me trying really hard to find my style, because that is what I thought was supposed to happen. Today, I am under the firm belief that if you don't find your style, whatever that is, don't worry about it, because as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. But enough of that. So I want to start in chronological order as much as I can from when I started uploading my videos. So I have a stack here that I'm going to start first. And then I have a stack underneath that contains backgrounds that I haven't been very proud of in the past year, or that just didn't spark anything for me to go take it further. And then there is the leftovers, which are backgrounds that were either experimental or I didn't like. Let's just put it that way. So we're gonna go through the first stack, and then as I go along in the video, I also want to tell you what I'm thinking of doing this year, just so that you have a little bit of an idea. However, plans always change. My mood always changes. And so don't hold me to it, because I might just change it up again. If something is sparking my interest, then it's hard for me to ignore that. And then I just want to explore that for a little while. Having said that, 2024 was all about me refining my doodle skills a little bit more, and also me, like I said, trying to find my style. I would like to say that I succeeded in that in the first 3/4 of the year. I really honed in on a certain style, and I was able to find joy in that until I decided that it was time to move on and do something else. This was my first painting of the year. And remember, all of these are videos. So the year started out fantastically, and I really love this one so much so that I decided to put it on my phone case. Look at this. That's my art on a phone case. And no, this is not sponsored, but I absolutely love Pila phone cases. And not only do I love that they now allow you to print your own stuff on your phone cases, but these are also compostable, and I have been using them for about 3 years now, and I'm happy to say that it works. You can throw them in your home compost and they will disintegrate. Isn't that wonderful? But look at this. That's my art on my phone. I love it so much. I love it so much. Of course, you know, not everything will fit, and so I had to kind of figure out which one do I like the most. And because there's a cutout here, I was like, okay, if I use this one, then this beauty is going to get cut out. So I kind of had to pick and choose which part of the painting that I liked the most. Anyway, that was my first painting. And then I just honed in on a certain style. I really loved putting down watercolor first with a lot of water and then seeing where it would take me. And then I wanted to experiment a little bit with different mediums. So I started using diluted acrylic paint. And this is how these 3 paintings were created. And I absolutely love them. I love the colors. I love the doodles. I love everything about them. I did stuff like that towards the end of 2023. So you still see me like going back and forth a little bit at that time. Once the year started to progress, my style also started to merge into this Fantasyland doodle type painting style. I really love it, but it takes a lot out of me. There's a lot of thinking that needs to go behind it, even though most of it is intuitive. But I really leaned into it and came up with a few that I really, really liked. A lot of you ask me, what do you do when you're done? Do you sell your paintings? And no, I don't sell my paintings. I put together a couple of calendars for this year, but unfortunately, they never made it into something that I then ended up selling. But that is not to say that it's not going to come in the future. In fact, I might have most of my paintings, or the ones that I put together for this year, for the calendar, I will probably use for next year's calendar. Just because this year has already started and I kind of want to move on from that for a little while. And so here, I'll just show you. I put together these little tabletop calendars. There is some art from 2023 that is in here, and most of it is from this year. So I put together a horizontal one and also a vertical one, and each calendar style comes with its own set of paintings because that is how many I did. So for now, it is sitting on my desk for me to enjoy and to try out. I gotta tweak a few things. I get to look at them each month and I get to enjoy them for the year. And then when I'm ready, I will have them available for 2026. And who knows, if I really have something fun to share from this year, I might make one that only has art from this year. All right, moving on. For my birthday last year, I asked my husband to kindly give me a box of Caran D'Ache colored pencils, and he proceeded to gift me a huge box, and this is what I came up with. I really want to revisit that style, but it takes a long time to create something like this. So when I feel like it, I will revisit. I think at this time I kind of started to get a little bit burnt out with the doodle paintings that I have done. So I went and knit this one, and then I also revisited one of my first YouTube video creations that I did, and I wanted to recreate it somehow and see how I have improved. And this is what I came up with. This is one that I really, really love. It's got the little village down below, and this tree. So if you're interested on how these were created, just go find them on my channel. I created a playlist and all of the 2024 paintings are there. Then I purchased the Jean Haynes set of the Daniel Smith watercolors, and I went down a rabbit hole. I have a lot more paintings that never got finished, so we'll get to those after I'm done with this pile. I really love this one. I'm thinking of making a card out of this one. And I just wanted to try all of the colors all at once because they came in a set. And these are some that I created. And I also decided to just use a few of the colors. And man, some of them granulate so beautifully. It's just so beautiful. It's another one I really enjoyed making. I mean, I'm very proud of most of these. They really still speak to me, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. I fell down another rabbit hole because I had purchased the Caran D'Ache granulating watercolors. Again, you will see that in the discarded background piles, that it took me a while to get used to them, because I felt like I wasn't doing the colors justice. I knew that they would work really well with the style that I was doing at the time. And so it just took me a little while to really make sure that I let them shine. This was the first one that I felt was presenting that. This one has all of the colors. There's only 5 in the set. But because they're granulating, they also change colors. So I decided to just work with one color per painting, and that's what these ones are all about. I apologize, I don't remember exactly off the top of my head what the names of the colors are. But again, if you are curious, if something pops up that you really liked, please go find them in my playlist. I really love how this one turned out. In fact, all of these I am very proud of because it really shows how the colors change as you work with them. This one was a little bit more challenging as far as the doodling was concerned, but I absolutely love how it turned out. With this one, I wasn't sure about the colors. It looks very industrial, but again, I'm very proud of the doodles that I put on that. This one, I think, was an extra one, and I don't think I have a video of that one. This one was an extra one as well, that I decided to put up for my members. If you don't know, I have a membership program. I'm not posting a whole lot on there just because I don't have time at the moment, but I'm planning on putting more stuff for all of my lovely members this year. It is set to 99 cents. That was the lowest I could go per YouTube. And so it's just something extra that people, if they want to support me, they can. And every now and then I release a video that I have planned for the week a little bit earlier for them to watch. Or like I said, I'm hoping to put a little bit more extra on there for them this year. So if you're one of those members, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. And if you want to sign up for it, there's a link in the description box for you to click. You don't have to at all. Like I said, anything that is extra is always appreciated but never expected. Just you being here and subscribing to my channel and liking and sharing what I am doing is enough, honestly. This one has a very special place in my heart. I'm not gonna go too much into it, but if you're interested, you can go watch it and I will tell you all about this one in that video. Then it was the fall and I challenged myself to work with a specific color palette. And again, I have one in the discarded pile that I created first that I absolutely hated how the colors moved on the paper. And so I redid it and this is what I came up with, and I am in love with this one. And then this was towards the end of the year, kind of, sort of. And I felt like my style was kind of changing a little bit. I still love doing the doodles, but like I said in the beginning, working this way takes out a lot of me, and I just needed to find something else to do to kind of mix it up a little bit for myself. And so this is what I came up with. Those are the Daniel Smith watercolors again with doodles. I love this style. I think we're gonna see a little bit more of this style this year. That was also kind of an experimental one. I really like how it turned out. I'm not sure if I will revisit something like this in this year. And then I brought out the cling foil again, and that's how this background was created. And I also added some mosaic elements in it with leftover alcohol ink backgrounds. I really love how this one turned out. More of the cling foil technique, and that was also intuitive painting. I didn't like it when I made the video, but looking back at it now, I love it. This is how my mood changes on a daily basis. And then I brought back some more of the alcohol ink backgrounds, and I wanted to do a little bit more gluing and putting it together like a puzzle. And it reminds me a lot of these kinds of backgrounds, and that's why I did it. Let me bring it out, the other one. This style. That's what it reminded me of with these different sections. And so that's how I treated it, and I love it. It was done on a piece of paper that I discarded, and so it was basically just something that I wanted to try out. But I could see myself revisiting that and have it either on a bigger scale or make it so that I can frame it. And that was in the winter time when I again used some of my mosaic alcohol ink backgrounds. And then again, Daniel Smith watercolors. I had purchased some sticks, which are these ones here. And I love them too, and I just wanted to try it out a little bit more, and that's what I came up with. This one too. It was towards the end of the year. I still want to be creative at least once a week, and so even though I wasn't really feeling it at the time, I just still felt the urge to sit down and create something. And this is how these last 3 pieces came about. And also I wanted to challenge myself to start working on a bigger scale, and so that's why these are a little bit more scaled up. Last but not least, these were the ones that you most likely are familiar with because they are the most recent ones that I did for the 12 days of Christmas. So we can just quickly go through them and look at them one more time. I don't know if they're even facing the right way, but that concluded last year's adventures. All right, so now we're gonna move on to a couple of things that I did in my sketchbook. I actually have 2 of them, but they're not filled. Don't get excited. This is something that I want to work on this year a little bit more, and I already have. I'm not gonna show you yet because that's gonna come in future videos. but I really want to try and work more in sketchbooks because I feel like I need to allow myself to just play. And when I have just a piece of paper in front of me, I feel a little bit more pressured to create something that is outrageously amazing. So I had some leftover paint on a palette and I decided to just use it all up, and this is what I came up with. I really like this one. This looks very fall like, and I love the little trees that I created. And then here I started out with just some boulder-like circles, and then I wanted to revisit the neurographic lines, and so that's what I did. As I was using up the colors, they would get lighter and lighter. And this is all from one palette that I had colors on. So I basically just went in and created some backgrounds that I could practice some doodles on. So that was the whole point of that. This was the remainder of the colors, and boy, I love this shade of blue and green. It's so beautiful, and I have not done anything on top of it because I love the color so much. I'm a little intimidated. So that's why I haven't done anything on here. And this was again the Daniel Smith watercolors from the Jean Haynes collection that I put something down because I brought this with me on vacation last year and I wanted a background to doodle on, and obviously I haven't done anything in it yet. Arctic's Acrylic Markers sent me their markers and a sketchbook, and I really like this sketchbook because it's lays flat. However, I started playing in it a little bit more, and I have realized that if I use too much water, the pages will come loose, and hopefully I can show you what I mean. But so I used it to swatch all the markers here, and then I was trying to come up with something for you to look at. I didn't like how this one turned out. Donuts. I was in Switzerland visiting my family, and I bought a set of Caran D'Ache watercolor pencils, and so I swatched them there. And that's also with the watercolor pencils. I was bored. It was close to Halloween, and that is what I was drawing. And oh, this is what I made a video of, just using the markers and then doodling over it. I really like how this turned out. It's very psychedelic. Again, there's some more stuff that I just drew, and this is an idea that I had that I then later put into a video with Daniel Smith watercolors. And then these are the swatches for my sticks that I bought. And then I played around with it a little bit more. I did some more neurographic lines with some mosaic parts on top. This is with alcohol inks, again in the mosaic style or this collage style. The flowers were made with the saran wrap or the cling wrap. Another concept that I was working on that I'm glad I did in a sketchbook because I wasn't really sure how it would go. And lastly, I swatched the gold colors that I had purchased that I love. And again, I had some color on a palette that I wanted to use up, and that is the last one that I did. And the rest I'm not going to show you because that is for next video. Next, I am going to show you the pieces that never made it into a video or that I never finished. This one might look familiar. It is one that I did at the beginning of last year that is in horizontal style. I had made 2 backgrounds and I chose the one that spoke to me more, and then later on I went back and created this guy, and I absolutely love the two together. This one I kind of messed up. The colors were too dark. I was trying out the Mill Yang watercolors and I wanted to create something for you, and I ended up not using this one but the other one that you saw previously. I just felt like the colors were too dark, the black wasn't showing up, and I hated the white, so this one never made it. This one I had already done something in the back, and I think those are Daniel Smith as well, and I tried the colors and then I had just put it to the side, and then later on I went in and I put some doodles over it. This was another background that I didn't love, but later on went in and doodled over it. Again, that one I didn't love or didn't speak to me, or I started doodling and then I didn't like it and so I stopped. I had done, I think, 2 of these backgrounds. That might have been from the year before, but I pulled it out and I started doodling on it. I do like how this turned out, but it never made it into a video. These 2, again, was kind of a concept with Daniel Smith watercolors. I have to stop trying to use all of the colors all at once, because even though I might think that they work, sometimes they don't. Then this is starting to look a little familiar. Something that I was trying out and I didn't like, so I just keep it in case I want to do something later with it. This also was something that I continued trying, and this one I didn't like as much, so it never made it into a video. Again, kind of fluffed up with this flower here, and then I abandoned it because I didn't like it anymore, but it's definitely something that I want to revisit. With these 2, again, I just tried a few different things. This one was way too busy, and this one I abandoned because once the circle started to overlap, I didn't love it as much anymore. But I have it, I might come back to it later. This one was also something that I wanted to try out, but the moment I put the background on with these little fine lines, it just became too busy. And I never filmed this one. I just wanted to try a few new things out. And so that was in the pile. This one I did film, but I never made a video out of it just because it was too basic. Even though some of you might want to see it, I just feel like certain things just don't need to be shared, and this was one of them basically. Another one of those concepts that I revisited, and I actually like this one. I might come back and doodle over it a little bit more. Again, like I said, I went down a rabbit hole with the Jean Haynes collection of the Daniel Smith watercolors, and this is a whole series that I explored because I just love them so much. I wanted to use them all the time. But at some point you have to know where to draw the line. Again, with the Saran wrap and making them into boulders or pebbles, they kind of looked like underwater, and so I tried to emulate, the water flowing over it, and I don't know if I was successful, but I do like it. This one again was something similar that I had already done, that I started doodling and then abandoned. The same with this one. I loved the boulders, but then I didn't like the shadowing. behind it, and so that also never made it into a video. And then this is a bigger one of the smaller one that I did with that same saran wrap technique, and then putting the mosaic alcohol ink circles over it. And that was that for this pile. Last, those are just backgrounds that I either just played around with or I worked on and then didn't feel like I wanted to pursue. I don't, it's very, very faint, but there's some square shapes on this one. Just backgrounds, or maybe it was using up colors on a palette that I didn't want to throw away, and so I just created these for future use. This one was the one that I was telling you about, that I had a specific color palette, but I used it in the same way that I had done in the past, using a lot of water, and the colors just started to mix into each other, which gave me this green, which is not bad, but that wasn't the point. The point was to have these colors displayed very dominantly, and it didn't happen with this one, so I abandoned it. I might use it for something in the future, but I'm not sure. And I revisited the diluted acrylic paint, and I came up with this. That was just me playing around. Oh, and then, of course, a whole bunch of Daniel Smith, Jean Haynes backgrounds that never made it into. Clearly, this was very, very dark. Didn't like it. I like this one. I might do something with this one in the future. More Daniel Smith. This was this Daniel Smith? Yes, it was. Sometimes I just want to put down colors without going any further. Again, I used up paper. Sometimes that's just something that I like doing without having to think about it too hard. But yeah, I really, really loved these colors, as you can tell. Those were acrylic inks that I used. Didn't like how it turned out. Again, there was colors on a watercolor palette that I wanted to use up. And these are a series of the Caran D'Ache granulating ones. And that was the first one I did. And like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. So it really, you can tell, it didn't do the colors justice. I used way too much pigment on these. So I never was able to make anything with them. That is not to say that I won't in the future, but for now, they just live in this pile. I also used salt on it, and this is what it came up with. And just remember, this is just one color, guys. I get 1, 2, 3, almost 4 kinds of shades with just one color, which was crazy. So I really want to play a little bit more with them this year, hopefully, because I still feel like it has a lot of potential. And this was just drippings from this one. I love how this turned out, and I can see myself doing something with this one in the future. More backgrounds that never made it into anything. More Daniel Smith. This is from the dollar store, a canvas piece. Comes in a pack of 2, and I tried some watercolor on that. And that was the end of the year. More Daniel Smith, bigger in size. That I just tried a few things, and I just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. And so I decided not to take it any further. And that was all pretty much of 2024. I hope you enjoyed this little review. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of your favorites, hopefully, again in this pile. And I look forward to what 2025 is going to bring. Like I said, I don't want to tie myself down to any type of style. I am really curious how my sketchbook phase is going, and I have already purchased a few more art materials that I want to play around with. So I hope you're gonna be here for that. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Every little bit helps. I want to reach 20,000 subscribers this year. That's one of my goals. So if you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate it. You can always save videos of mine to watch later or to keep in your videos that you like watching and revisiting. You can share. And also, hopefully by this year, I will get my act together and get my store up and running. So that is another one of my goals. Anyway, this is goodbye for now, but I will be back with lots more videos for you to enjoy. So until next time, take care, and I will see you then. Bye bye.